Welcome to the Retail Insider video interview series. I'm your host, Craig Patterson, and we're joined here with a special guest, someone who we actually know quite well. This is Dustin Fuhs. He's currently the editor-in-chief and soon to leave us editor-in-chief of Retail Insider. He's been with us for nearly 4 years, and we're going to talk a little bit today about what we've seen in Retail Insider. And so welcome, Dustin, to the program here.
Thanks for having me. It's been it's definitely bittersweet. I'm excited about what's happening next, but I'm very grateful for the incredible journey that we had over the last almost 4 years at Retail Insider.
And now just a quick word from our sponsor, Sajo, Canada's first specialized retail builder. Visit the link in our show notes to see Sajo's holistic approach and transdisciplinary team to explore and understand your needs. Now, back to our podcast.
It's been incredible, I gotta say. Let's talk about some of the milestones that we've encountered here over the last nearly 4 years at Retail Insider.
Yeah, things have changed a little bit. So when I came on, it was towards the tail end of the first wave of COVID-19. So it was in October of 2020. You had already set up the first 6 months or so of things going wrong in the industry, adaptations, bankruptcies, all that other stuff. And it was interesting to come in because we thought originally, like, okay, we've made it past it. We're good. We're into the other thing. And then with various lockdowns and other things afterwards, like, you just have to adapt. So what was really interesting was just how quick and how flexible we were in order to bring, what our readership was looking for. They were kind of transitioning as we were going through this process. And it was very interesting.
It was an absolutely chaotic time. I know that early on we were going to run a story on a retailer opening at CF Pacific Center. Couldn't run the story because the store could not open because there was lockdowns at the time. So it was, the pandemic was one of the bigger, certainly, situations that happened while you were, as you joined us, and the team grew as well. We added people to the team while we also continued to report on some pretty interesting stories, that's for sure.
Yeah, and some of those stories included Disney Store closing, pulling out completely, not just in Canada, but that was an interesting time walking through and just seeing malls shuttering the store. It was incredible to see, and I had worked with Disney both for the stores and down in the parks before, so it was interesting to kind of see where things had gone. And then obviously Zellers and Nordstrom and Target, and there was so much Sears and all these boxes getting redeveloped and redesigned, and entertainment, and just looking back on the past 4 years have just been like, when you're in it, you see it every single day, and there's always more and more going. But when you actually take that 25,000 foot view from the top down, it's incredible.
Yeah, and you mentioned some topics there: Disney, Zellers, Nordstrom. These were among some of our most, I think, well-read articles during that 4-year time period or thereabouts, with Zellers 2.0 coming in through Hudson's Bay, and the fact that we had to keep a secret for quite a while around Nordstrom before it was announced that it was going to be leaving Canada.
Yeah, and then there were other secrets that we had to keep. The thing that most people don't realize is that this job is all about strategic secret keeping. Because you look at something like, the IKEA coming to downtown Toronto. We held that for 6 months. And that showcased, how this business changes. And it was an incredible time. But the other nice thing is that we were able to create some really unique friendships and relationships with a lot of different brands that are out there. I think that was another really interesting part of this job is I got a chance to meet some incredible people, and I was incredibly grateful to have that opportunity because I get a chance to talk with some amazing leaders.
Absolutely, including executives from Adidas. That was another secret that we had to keep for a while, a good number of months, I think it was, if not a year even.
Oh yeah, that was a fun one, little trails being kept, but that's not even that. Like, just thinking about it, there was also Mech going into HBC, which it was the exact same time as Zellers. And then you also had just a lot of brands that were coming, going, adapting. And the folks who are behind the scenes You look at Retail Insider and you think, okay, 3 to 5 national stories coming out every single day. There's a lot of phone calls that go into that, and trying to make sure that everyone knows where things are going and right timing. And yeah, it's an interesting time, that's for sure.
Absolutely, absolutely. Do you have any memorable interviews that you did during your time at Retail Insider?
Well, obviously the most recent one was at Roots with Megan Roach. Like that was an absolute blast getting a chance to see the new style. I've had an opportunity to meet with some incredible people, not just in the day to day, but also on stage. I was able to do the panel at RCC Store Conference 24 with Air Miles. In addition to doing an ICSC panel talking about Gen Z. These are all just things that come in, and then it's behind the scenes stuff. It's talking with leaders and talking with people that you never would have imagined. The 7 a.m. coffee with Drew Green was a big one for me, and I think it was 7:30 with David Louie. And like there's so many different times where you don't realize when you get a chance to talk with someone, but if someone says, "Hey, I'll meet you for coffee," you always got to say yes.
Absolutely, absolutely. And Indochino's done an incredible expansion under Drew Green's direction, which is something that certainly we've reported on over the last 4 years as well. Let's talk a bit about industry changes and some of the trends that we've seen here. I mean, the pandemic was an obvious one, but a lot has changed in retail over the last few years here as we've been working through this.
Yeah, and we look at things like AI, AR, VR. A lot of acronyms. The focus on creating immersive retail. All these shopping centers had boxes, and you had to figure out what to put in these boxes. So seeing the integration between short-term and legacy retailers coming through. Even when you look at what COVID-19 did to retail and how things were coming back, that was a trend. The adaptation, the innovation. I look at things like going forward, it's going to be things like sustainability, personalization, omni-channel experiences. All those are things that we talk about, but we're seeing be implemented in the brick and mortar retail, especially in the Canadian side. There's a lot of innovation, and I think that's exciting.
Yeah. And I mean, the pandemic certainly brought out that innovation as well, I think, among other things, certainly.
Absolutely. So I think that there's a few more things that we're going to be seeing. The next evolution of airport retail, the next evolution of sports integration with new stores, new traveling exhibitions. Everything is available, and I think that we're seeing the global retail come back, and ideas are flowing, which is an incredible time.
Yeah. And I mean, you've been really interested in experiential, even not just retail, but experiential concepts, whether or not that's Arcadia Earth, or perhaps someday we'll get the Museum of Ice Cream in Canada, which I would just absolutely love to go to. But that's one area that you've really found your passion in, I think.
Yeah, and that comes from my upbringing, working for Disney, working for Blockbuster and all these different brands, but also being a retail fan. I was a retailer from birth. My dad was with Walmart for 40 years. So I lived and breathed what retail was all about. So it'll be interesting. I'm very excited. I think immersive retail is just cutting the surface. I would love to see brands like Putchak come up into Canada. I still think one of the best hidden gems out there, and whoever is listening, please take this. Imagine mini golf, but for ice hockey. That's like, you think about mini golf and you're like, oh, we can play mini golf. It's on grass. Well, what if you were to put that into ice? That's the kind of stuff that gets me excited about where things are going. And those conversations need to happen, and they're going to continue to adapt as people realize what experiential retail is all about.
Yeah, and there's been a real merging or melding or whatever you want to call it in terms of experiential retail and concepts. I guess just the commercialization of that. The world has changed because I think people are looking a little bit more for experiences and not just stuff.
Absolutely. And we saw that with something as basic as a Tesla store. People don't go into a Tesla store and buy a Tesla. They're there for the experience. Apple, same thing. So do we have that next evolution of experiential retail that isn't just those large format stores? Are we going to see experiential retail in the pet industry or in the grocery industry? One of our biggest stories that we reported on was the in-store vertical farming at Sobeys a couple of years ago. Those types of things people are interested in, the farm to table, that kind of, like when you go into Farm Boy now, you hear the chickens. They literally have put in sounds for chickens, and it's great fun. I love that.
I have to check that out. I didn't know they had chicken sounds at Farm Boy. I haven't been to one in a little while, but that's amazing. They don't just have the monkeys swinging near the bananas, I guess.
Yeah, and all those characters have names, by the way. I did not know that. They all have names.
That is so interesting. I mean, that in itself makes it experiential retail. I mean, now I want to go and check it out. I didn't know that. On a bit more of a personal note, what would you say you enjoyed most about being editor-in-chief at Retail Insider, Dustin?
Besides having conversations like this with you at like all times of the day, like most folks don't realize that when we're talking, it's not just at 10 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. No, we have these calls at like 11 o'clock at night. We're talking about retail every single day. And there's always something more to talk about. If grocery is going one way, we'll talk about, fashion, luxury, all those things are things that I'm really going to miss. I'm definitely going to miss the camaraderie that we had, not just with Mario Taniguchi, who is the new co-editor-in-chief, but also with Shelby and with Lee and with Sean and with all the writers, all the folks across the spectrum within the RI universe. That's going to be something that I'm going to miss because I really enjoyed those conversations. And obviously talking retail on a day-to-day basis, like you can't beat that, especially when you're a retail nerd like me. I love it.
Absolutely. We've had evening conversations where we're saying, what retailer could go into this space? There's whatever this interesting retail space is. We've been brainstorming. So anyways, I love doing that. It's been so much fun.
Yeah, the things that... What were you saying? That 99% of the stuff that we know and we talk about would never be on Retail Insider. And that's true because we're very strategic behind the scenes. And some of the things that I will miss the most is our late night chats about, we would break out the leasing maps for various shopping centers. And we would actually go through and be like, what are the stores that have been here the longest? What are the stores that's been here can they move? Can we adapt? Can you move? And those are things that you can't do anything else. So I'm excited about that. Those will continue, obviously. I'm not going away. It's just one of those things where, the future has some interesting steps for me, but it'll be very interesting to keep in touch with where things are going. And obviously, I can always send you a note and be like, "Hey, did you know that this is going on?"
We'll keep you in our Slack channel as we discussed.
100%. I am so excited for that.
And tell me about the future. What are you thinking you'll be doing next? Tell us a little bit about that. Whatever you want to talk about.
Yeah. So I've created a new website called the Immersive Lab. The Immersive Lab is an experience that as anyone who knows me, I love gift shops. I love experiential stuff. I love going into stores. I love going into experiences. And that's the kind of thing that I'm really looking forward to doing. So over on the Immersive Lab, we look after gift shops for arenas, stores, attractions. We're going to be collaborating with industry leaders in order to create unique environments, not only through consulting, but also through just fun discussions. And I think where I go after that and where I'm leading, we'll see. It's time to enjoy a summer and take some time, because as we all know, this job is all encompassing. It is national news. You always have to keep on top of it. And so it's time to take a little bit of a breather. But yeah, and from the sidelines, I am definitely looking forward to seeing what's going on with Retail Insider moving forward. You have a lifelong reader from me, and I think there's going to be a lot of stuff that I know you're playing with in the background, and I can't wait for people to see where you're going with it.
It's wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Dustin, for joining us here today, as well as, of course, almost 4 years working with us at Retail Insider. We're going to miss you so much, but we'll definitely be keeping in touch. And should probably keep you as a correspondent or something and have you back on here because it'd be so much fun.
100%. I'm always around.
Thank you so much. This has been Dustin Fuhs. He's currently and soon to leave us editor-in-chief of Retail Insider. Thank you for joining us here today, Dustin.
Thanks.
Thank you so much for joining us today. I'm Craig Patterson. I'm the founder and publisher of Retail Insider, as well as the CEO of Retail Insider Media Limited. Thank you for joining us here today. Be sure to subscribe, whether or not this is on a podcast channel or on YouTube. Take care and bye for now.